In this rubric, we're going to examine the big ideas such as working with others. What does that mean? And actually the quality of the collaboration, okay? Can we describe the quality of the collaboration? Not just other collaborating, but can you describe the type and quality of the collaboration? So the big ideas that we came up with were, are they working together? Do they have shared responsibility? Are they making substantive decisions? Now, I'm not talking about what color the PowerPoint's going to be, unless is it going to be a pink background or is it going to be a green background. That's only important if the audience you're designing for actually has visual difficulty or if they're colorblind, okay? But it shouldn't be the major substantive decision. You should be looking at the content of the process or whatever, okay? So, and is their work interdependent? So they're the decisions that you have to make when you're designing for collaboration. So what does working together mean? Well, it means that if they have an opportunity to work in pairs or groups, but they have an opportunity to work in pairs or groups to discuss an issue, to solve a problem, or to create a product. So you have to be very clear, what are they doing? What type of activity they're doing as they work together, okay? And they could actually work with people outside the classroom, students in other classes, students from another school, or actually outside community members, or experts in the field. However, they can also work face-to-face, or they could use the technology. Moving on, so we're looking at working together. If they've shared responsibility, if they work in pairs or groups, if they have a common product they're working on, a common design or a response to something, okay? Then you're looking at shared responsibility. But it has to be, remember, a common product, common design, common response. So they have to collectively own the work and be mutually responsible for its outcome. So that's where feedback now is very different. If I actually have to, let's say, do a poem, you give me feedback, okay? It's my poem. You give me feedback. We're not mutually responsible for the outcome, okay? And I can take your feedback or leave it, okay? So we can work together, but we're not mutually responsible for the outcome. So it is not shared responsibility. Do you see the difference? Okay? So that's why we have to be very careful what we're talking about. If the group involves students or adults from outside the classroom, it only qualifies as shared responsibility if the people are equally responsible and mutually responsible for the task, okay? Otherwise, it's only working together, okay? So now you can see, you can be very careful about the type, describing the type of collaboration that's going on. Making substantive decisions. So we talk about working together, shared responsibility. Now we're talking about making substantive decisions, okay? They make substantive decisions when they have to resolve important issues that will guide their work together. Important issues about the content, the process, or the product. Initially, it would be just one. Sometimes people design tasks for people and they're so complex that they can't even begin to actually engage with them. Particularly when you're actually working with your students and you want to begin them on the process, okay? So initially you may actually make them design the activity in such a way that they only have to make decisions maybe about the process. You've set maybe the question to be investigated, etc., shared responsibility, but they will decide on how they're going to do it, the process, okay? Or it could be the content, so that they actually have freedom over the content, okay? I won't read this, you can read it yourself, okay? They might have to make a decision about the hypothesis, etc., they will test, okay? So they're making substantive decisions about the content, or they're making substantive decisions about the process, or they're making substantive decisions about the product that they will develop in response to the task. And as they get more expert, you will actually be able to maybe give them the responsibility to decide maybe the process and the product, okay? But please don't design tasks in the beginning that actually leave them overwhelmed, okay? You have to build up their expertise.